Mr. Chairman, we reiterate our congratulations on the assumption by Egypt and President Mubarak of the chairmanship of the non-aligned movement. We are confident that His Excellency's stewardship will bear significant results for our movement. And we assure that Egypt can count on the full cooperation of the Philippines. We also thank His Excellency President Fidel Castro and his successor, President Raul Castro, for having ably steered our movement during the past 3 years. Mr. Chairman, we must halt the divisions in international relations that work against our common effort to promote peace, stability, development, and progress. For this noble purpose, we, the more than 100 NAM members, are partners working together to advance the family of nations. Global cooperation is the only means of securing lasting peace and progress. Our movement must continue to work with others towards this crucial end. Mr. Chairman, there are 5 key areas where NAM can take the lead in forging international solidarity for peace and development. First, the international community must take decisive and sustained actions to address the worst global economic crisis in the post-war era. The past 12 months have been a year for the history books. The global financial turmoil spread and jeopardized the well-being of billions of people across the globe. This is also a crisis that has taught us all many lessons that will serve us well as we work together to restructure the global economic system. The most important thing we have learned is that our economies are closely interconnected. We sink or swim as one. In the face of this grave situation, we need to strengthen South-South cooperation. We need to enhance regional and sub-regional efforts. Amidst the dark clouds of the global economic crisis are silver linings that will redound to our mutual benefit, not the least of which is the increasing acknowledgement that all nations and regions of the world must now take the place at the table. No longer can a few lead the many. We need to make G20 or even a G30 the norm and not revert to simply viewing the world through the eyes of the G7. We must create greater, stronger global oversight and greater transparency in the financial system. We must all have a voice and help supply the vision of the world economy in the next generation. The second area NAM should address relates to the crucial negotiations leading to the conference of the parties of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change to be held this December in Copenhagen. The Philippines is active in the preparatory discussions and negotiations. We have been designated as the overall coordinator of the Group of 77 in China for the ad hoc working group on long-term cooperative action. NAM, through its participation in the G77 and China, must remain actively involved in negotiations concerning carbon emission reduction targets, financing, and technology. If we are going to impact the climate change dialogue, we must carry a message from NAM to the ongoing meetings of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. The industrialized countries must decide before the Copenhagen meeting on the range of their carbon emission reduction targets. The announced aggregate targets will enable us to determine whether or not we can keep the global temperature rise to less than 2%. Beyond that point, the developing world, with its poor technologies and inefficient resources that restrict their ability to adapt to or to mitigate the impacts of climate change, would experience adverse climate change impacts of unmanageable proportions. And we must call on all countries, but most importantly, the major industrialized nations and the rest of the developed world, to live up to the UNFCCC obligations, particularly those related to access to affordable and appropriate technology and funding for climate change management programs. Third, interfaith dialogue is essential. If we are to end the disagreements between faiths and between cultures that are killing so many innocent people in so many countries around the world. The Philippines is pleased to host the special non-ministerial meeting on interfaith dialogue and cooperation for peace in Manila from December 1 to 3 this year. This will mark the first time that NAM will harness the great potentials of interfaith dialogue and cooperation to advance our concerns for a durable and lasting peace and sustainable development. The Philippines has long been an advocate of peace and the promotion of an open dialogue among various faiths and religions to foster understanding and cooperation for peace and development. We are a predominantly Catholic country. However, we recognize the importance of reaching out to our Muslim brothers through continuous engagement and to push aside differences and to bring together the people of different faiths for a common good. We value the opportunity to share insights from our unique paradigm for peace, which has been a mix of both soft and hard power in dealing with insurgencies, and to learn from the invaluable experiences of other non-member countries on their respective interfaith programs that have helped bridge the religious and cultural divides. We look forward to welcoming all the NAM delegations in Manila. This will blaze a new landmark in our movement's quest for international solidarity. Fourth, as we look at international security of regions, we cannot overlook the important issue of nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. The Philippines stands with all peace-loving nations against dangerous experimentations with nuclear weapons. We support the decisions of the United Nations Security Council in this regard. We are grateful to the NAM membership for your trust in the Philippines, for endorsing the Philippines presidency of the 2010 Review Conference of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, the NPT 2010. Fifth, let us focus our collective action on our migrant workers, a group whose labors benefit both their home and their host nations. Despite their contributions to the global economy, many migrant workers are unsung heroes, often vulnerable to exploitation. In the UN, the Philippines has been one of the foremost advocates for the International Convention for the Protection of the Rights of All Migrant Workers and their families. I urge all our NAM partners that have not yet done so to accede to this important convention. Of immediate concern is our migrant workers who are falling victim to kidnapping and piracy while working on board international vessels. We call on the member states of NAM to do everything in your power to help protect those vulnerable workers from pirates and other non-state actors who would do harm. Mr. Chairman, indeed NAM brings together nations to address global challenges such as the global economic crisis, climate change, nuclear non-proliferation and disarmament, interfaith understanding, and the welfare and development of migrant workers, particularly as the global economy becomes more integrated. These are the areas in which we hope to see greater levels of cooperation among NAM members, because if the developing world speaks as one, we have the power to move toward faster solution to these challenges. Thank you.